Us gamers are a fickle group of people. We typically can't agree on a single thing, whether it's the endless console wars, who is the best Smash Bros character, or who would win in a fight, Kratos or Master Chief. I know where I stand on that last one, but this year there was something we could all agree on. 2023 has been one of the best years in gaming history. The quality bar for games this year was insanely high, and that includes co-op games. I don't know if you've heard, but a co-op game did just win Game of the Year at the Game Awards. Kind of a big deal, but more on that later. In the 5 years we've been doing this channel, I can confidently say this has been a stellar year for co-op games. We played 30 freaking games, from the big temple releases to some underrated indie darlings and at least one viral sensation. So without further ado, we present to you the top 10 co-op games of 2023.
Everyone has that one game every year that they, and they alone, must bear the burden of evangelizing. And for me, that is Disney Illusion Island. I love the art direction of classic Mickey animation, the soundtrack that felt like a trip to Disney World, or just the humor that somehow got a chuckle out of a group of 20-somethings on a couch. But what I really appreciated was how much this game did to make itself accessible as a 4-player local co-op platformer. It's all of the little things adding up, like the camera for instance. It's pulled out just the right amount so you can keep track of your character, but also enough to make it easier for the second, third, and fourth player to follow along. There are also a ton of areas thrown in that have the camera stop entirely so no one character is followed, a small touch that only real couch co-op fans can appreciate. But it's also accessible for younger and non-gamers alike, with the ability to share lives with a hug or drop a rope to help a friend pass a tough section. If it feels like I'm still going on and on in this section, it's because this game got slept on and it deserves this 10th spot, and I'm happy the bros are here to recognize it.
Sons of the Forest is the kind of sequel you hope for, the kind that improves on every single aspect of the original game and still manages to bring some surprises of its own. Combat is way more satisfying, progressing the story is significantly easier, and the new building system makes the game even more cooperative than before. Now the team, they could have just stopped there, but they continued to surprise us with some great additions to the survival sandbox. I obviously gotta give a shout out to our boy Kelvin, who made surviving so much more efficient and overall way more fun. Another highlight for us are the new wacky ways to traverse the island, like using sleds in the snow or riding our one-wheels on the beach. These really gave the game that extra cherry on top. Sons of the Forest remains just as cooperative as the first game, if not more so. New enemy types kept us on our toes, and it was a lot of fun to put our heads together to solve the new mystery this time around. We played this at launch and felt like it was pretty feature complete then, so I can't imagine how much better the game will be when it launches in full on February 23rd. So if you haven't hopped in yet, then you're in luck, because that's the perfect time to check out Sons of the Forest.
Look, I don't want to talk down to our wonderful subscribers, but did any of you take our advice and play Patch Quest? Really? Nobody? Okay, well here's your last reminder that you need to open up your Steam stores on your little Steam Decks and download Patch Quest for a measly $15. Jokes aside, we really meant it back in March when we said that this was the indie gem that you'd skip. So much so, it's sitting on the stellar list proudly at number 8. For the uninitiated, this is a co-op roguelite that mashes together pretty much every genre under the sun and comes out the other side unscathed. But from a co-op perspective, our standout feature is mixing and matching different monster rides to create your own combos. It looks like a lot on the screen, but the abilities of each monster help keep the chaos at bay, and when you mix a defensive monster with a monster who can slow down time to make the bullet hell gameplay a little more manageable, it's just pretty cool. There's so much to this game that I could spend the entire list covering it, so for now let's move on to number 7 while your download finishes up.
I've spent most of 2023 praising Ember Knights any chance I could, especially since its full release this past summer. It's been featured in 4 list videos, a dedicated review, and several mentions on the monthly. So yeah, I've been kind of obsessed with this one. If you followed us this year, you're not surprised to hear any of this, but I'm gonna ask you to indulge me one last time. Ember Knights is one of the most underrated games on this list, full stop. Its hack and slash combat is excellent regardless of which weapon you choose, there's 6 of them by the way. Plus there's a ton of upgrades and abilities to acquire on a run, all of which amounts to some incredible build crafting. Most roguelikes have a pretty good handle on this kind of stuff, but Ember Knights is special because it makes it all work in co-op seamlessly. It's super satisfying to create synergies with your squad, and the game makes it so easy to do so. I really can't say enough nice things about this title. If you like playing roguelikes with your friends, here's one of the best.
One game that has never quite had control of the narrative is Wild Hearts. Pre-release, it was just a Monster Hunter clone. Post-release, it shot itself in the foot with a terrible PC port. Less than a year later, it's claimed to be dead. But let me give you the inside scoop. Wild Hearts absolutely slaps. Yes, it's a Monster Hunter clone, but the Katakuri system separates it from its predecessor with a wildly, no pun intended, successful Fortnite build mode to an additional successful formula. Coordinating Katakuri with your co-op partners is always rewarding, and each monster is unique and needs coordination. The art style and soundtrack add to the intensity of each hunt, with often a building sense of urgency as a hunt builds towards the climactic end. It all comes together as one of our favorite co-op games of the year, and my fingers are crossed this isn't the last time we see Koei Tecmo take a shot at the king.
Okay, so look, I am not a Mario guy. I can appreciate the games, I loved Odyssey, but historically, they're just not my favorites. Even having a Mario fanatic as my best friend has done little to turn me into a believer. But you know what has? Super Mario Bros. Wonder. At its base, Wonder is a delightful game, one that is made even better in co-op. One of the best moves Nintendo made with this one is removing the level timer. This simple change makes every level a fun sandbox to explore and challenge us to work together in order to find all the secret coins and especially the Wonder Flowers. And yes, the Wonder Flowers really are as awesome as everyone says they are. Even after the 10s or 20th Wonder effect, we couldn't help but have a silly smile on our faces. For a franchise as old as this, it's nice to see Nintendo shake things up a bit. There's a couple nice touches like the new revive system and some more unexpected things like the weird but also kinda cool online mode. This is definitely the most fun I've had playing Mario in co-op, and it's a game that begs to be shared with anybody.
Like most live service games, Diablo IV has seen a roller coaster of public opinion. But here at the Co-op Bros, we do our best to transcend the echo chamber. We look past the fickle seasonal model. We find the true core in every game we play. But also we really just like Diablo IV. From our co-op perspective, the class system was easy to get into and made it simple to differentiate our playstyles. I'm a giant bear and attract attention, Gabe's a little wizard who crits from the side. On top of that, most co-op games really struggle when presenting a compelling story, and we were on the edge of our seats every time Lilith graced our screens. Plus, Diablo IV just does a lot of things that we all appreciate but seldom recognize, like crossplay, 4-player online co-op, shared progression, 2-player local co-op, cross-saves, and combo co-op. Maybe I exaggerated our credentials at the beginning of this section, I can admit to that, but I do think Diablo IV is better than people credit it for, and that's why it's as high up as it is.
Remnant from the Ashes has achieved a sort of cult status for us on the channel, so when we first heard of the sequel, I experienced a mix of emotions. Excitement, but also fear. Joy, but also trepidation. Could the sequel be as good as the first game, or would it feel like the magic wore off? Thankfully, I can confidently say Remnant 2 absolutely nailed it and doubles down on everything that made the original special. The new archetype system and the dual classes makes it more engaging than ever to craft a unique class, especially in co-op. But the real star of the show for me are all the secrets you can discover. There is a staggering amount of hidden content in this game, and finding it together in co-op is super satisfying. You really have to put your heads together to solve puzzles, and it really struck me how nearly every one of these worked in co-op. Some even felt like they were made with co-op in mind. The rest of the package received a decent update from the original game too. Combat, bosses, level design, it's all stellar. But like I said, the game really shines in all the hidden content you can find together, and some of these discoveries definitely became my favorite gaming moments of the year.
I think both Gabe and I knew we were going to enjoy Endless Dungeon, but we weren't ready for just how much we were going to love it. The developers feel like they've been watching all of our reviews and applied everything we always harp on as co-op critics. The heroes don't just have fun characterization, but are impressively focused on how they play in tandem with each other. As a co-op roguelite, it's important for those individual run-focused decisions to be presented at a team level so you can communicate on each of them, and Endless Dungeon does this perfectly. We were constantly discussing pre-action what to do to best ensure a good run, and mid-action how to best ensure we were properly positioning and managing a wave. A hero-based, roguelite, tower defense, top-down shooter sounds like a lot, and it is. But Endless Dungeon manages them all beautifully, and I think it's pretty cool a game like this gets our number 2 spot in a year as stacked as 2023 is.
Finally, we've arrived at our number 1 on the list, and I'm happy to declare our 2023 co-op game of the year is Baldur's Gate 3. I know we're surprising absolutely nobody with this choice, but I mean, how could it not be Baldur's Gate 3? We've gone over some truly outstanding co-op games on this list, but none of them really offer the same amount of freedom and accessibility Larian offers here. Want to play split screen with a friend? How about 4 players online? Or maybe you and your friend on the couch want to party up with some friends online as well. Need to access your save on another platform? Baldur's Gate 3 says yes to all of that with the promise of crossplay coming soon. Of course, this amount of freedom also extends to the gameplay. You can spend an hour poring over all the options to create a character that is truly unique to you. But once you bring your friends into the picture, yeah, that's when the game really starts to sing. Each character in our party was better suited for certain scenarios, like how Jake was our stealthy ranger, always scouting ahead and picking locks. My warlock was often the face of the party, talking his way out of most conflicts, and Andrew's paladin really shined in combat, smiting foes left and right. Working together and utilizing our unique strengths was one of my favorite parts of this game, but you're also never really stuck in your role either. Perhaps the best part of Baldur's Gate 3 is that you can truly do whatever you want. There are so many different ways to approach an encounter, leading to some really unexpected outcomes. And this goes for anyone in the party, whether you're the host or not, you have full agency in this world. Like the best dungeon masters, Baldur's Gate 3 says yes to nearly everything in the spirit of both fun and immersion. There's so much more we could say about this game. It's deserving of all the awards it's received and our highest honor on this channel.
Alright guys, I'm proud to say that here we are, we've done it. Our favorite video to do every year is done, and another chapter of the Co-op Bros is closed. We don't have a dedicated honorable mention section this year, but trust me when I say there are plenty more co-op games to choose from in 2023. Take a quick look through our channel and you'll see what I mean. Before you hit the comments and tell us how crazy it is we didn't play fill in the blank, please keep in mind we are just a 2-man team. If there's a game we missed, let us know, but please do it respectfully. We'd love to hear what we need to add to our backlog, so here's your opportunity. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching and engaging with us all year. We're excited for 2024 and all the wonderful games it'll have to offer. And if you want to enjoy it with us too, we'd love to have you, so hit that good old subscribe button. Until then, we'll see you next time on another episode of the Co-op Bros.